So I hope that you are having a great start to the day. It was a chilly one. You stepped outside and you're like, ooh, boy, I need that jacket. But the good news is now the sun is up and shining and temperatures are slowly but surely rising. Not by much. We're just shy of 60 degrees right now. But take a look at those winds. Not only was it chilly this morning, but you'll be able to feel those winds streaming out of the east, and those dew points are still very low. So let's get you out the door. You're watching our digital update and it's lunchtime. You're wondering, okay, well, what can I expect if I maybe wanted to eat outside? Well, we're in the widespread 50s right now, 52 degrees in College Station. We are just shy of 60 in Galveston, and then out at Bush, 56 degrees, and Sugarland at 58. I do want to mention that these temperatures are up several degrees from just yesterday. Very similar north of Houston, but up anywhere from 6 to about 10 in our southern communities. But let's talk about those winds. They are streaming out of the east and eventually going to be shifting out of the southeast a little bit later today. We talk about current winds at anywhere from 10 to about 15, potentially even 20 miles per hour, but gusts could be even higher, mainly along our coastal zone. So that's something to keep in mind if you do have any of those outdoor plans as we are inching closer to the weekend. We're not quite there, but let me tell you, we have a lot between now and then, at least going on weather-wise. So let's get you through the day. Temperature is only peaking at about 60 degrees, so we're pretty close to those afternoon highs at this moment, likely between 2 and let's say 4 o'clock today. There is going to be some sunshine, though. I know yesterday there were a lot of clouds moving through. You'll definitely be seeing more of that sun if you're planning on getting that late afternoon bike ride in, maybe taking the kiddos out to the park, even playing some pickleball. No, a lot of folks like that. Then we head into the evening hours tonight, and temperatures, again, not going to be dropping too much. As there's not much happening in the skies, unfortunately, we are going to be seeing our pollen levels skyrocket. The tree, and specifically that cedar, is going to be very heavy out there. The good news is, I mentioned some weather changes on the way, and that's really going to help drop those levels down to hopefully none and low, because we know a lot of folks suffer from that cedar allergy. Well, let's talk about what's going to be bringing the rise in rain chances. And it's this parade of lows. This area of low pressure, which is now centered over the Four Corners. You can see all the snow on that front edge of it. To the mountains, boy, we know a lot of ski fans excited for that. Well, this and then a secondary low, which you can see out over in the Pacific, are really going to be our big rain makers. But let me tell you, you see how much space is between this area of low pressure and then the one out in the far left-hand side of your screen. That's actually days of dry weather in between. So you can expect rain overnight tonight, tomorrow morning, and then again on Monday. Good news is, for you watching, is that your weekend sandwiched in between, meaning we're actually going to be seeing dry skies for that. So we are going to be seeing those storms, like I mentioned, returning tonight and then moving into early tomorrow. And you're probably wondering, well, how much rain? This is over the next 5 days, so that does include those two systems that I mentioned. A lot of rain expected out to our east, but we could be seeing some spots of that heavy rain starting tonight, mainly for the morning commute tomorrow. Keep that in mind as it's a Friday. A lot of folks are going to be out and about. It's important to give yourself extra time as you're driving to work. And then unfortunately, Monday, we know, is the big game, National Championship of College Football. So that's also something that will, as we get closer, have the exact timing. Is that going to be impacting maybe some tailgating? But the good news is we know there's a lot of events downtown, and we are going to be seeing dry skies for that. Not to mention it could be a bit cool, but we'll get to that in a sec. Let's talk about the rainfall forecast. So this is this evening. You can see that heavy rain is loading up to our north and west. Then by tomorrow at lunchtime, all the heavy rain will start to push east. So you can see this conveyor belt of where some of the heaviest rain will be, maybe 1 to 2 inches down along our coast near Bay City. Just to the south of Galveston there, and then folks that live up to the north and west of Houston, well, that's where we're going to be seeing lesser rainfall amounts. So yes, this is a future cast, but no rain expected Saturday into Sunday, so we're dry. But let's take you out to early next week. We're talking Monday, and this is in addition to what will be seeing, but some reds down south along the coast, and that means we could be seeing several inches in total over the next few days. But I do want to time out the skies for you because, hey, maybe you had some evening plans tonight. What can you expect? Good news is not much in the skies except for an increase in clouds this evening, but this is going to be by midnight, early tomorrow morning. That's when the rain returns. So you're going to be watching us here on Fox 26. You could be seeing some sprinkles, especially out west by, let's say, 9, 10 o'clock tonight. And then really about that morning commute, I mean, take a look at the heavy rain up toward the Woodlands, all the way out on the I-10 corridor past Katy into Columbus, and then all points to the south where that heavy rain moves in. 5 o'clock on Friday, so the early risers continues for your morning commute. And then I mentioned by lunchtime, all of that is gradually going to be pushing off to the east. So we're going to be seeing clearing skies. But remember, we talked about the winds earlier out of the east southeast. Well, we're going to be seeing those winds shifting out of the north by Friday afternoon. That's going to help usher in some cooler temperatures. So we're on a bit of a roller coaster, let's call it. As for what's happening across the state right now, well, not much. We are in the 50s, 60s, and even 70s down south, whereas West Texas, Lubbock, and looks like El Paso in the 30s and 40s. So things are just starting to move into Texas. Remember that area low pressure out across the Four Corners. You can see some very chilly temps in Albuquerque, but we're actually monitoring a winter weather advisory in northwest Texas, and that chilly air eventually will be shifting off to the east. Right now, we just have a ribbon of that dry air across Houston, but what is to come is much cooler air. And for our storm outlook, I know a lot of folks wondering, well, could we be seeing severe weather? The severe weather threat you can see is going to be in southern Louisiana. For us, we're going to be seeing the chance for thunderstorms, but we're not actually numbered. We're going to call it a 0 out of 5. So the threat for anything severe is slim to none. But if you do have family or friends east, maybe you are heading there this weekend, something to keep an eye out for. But we still could be seeing some of that heavy rain early tomorrow morning. We're in the very, very low value to see any of that excessive rainfall, but still something that your meteorologist will be watching for you throughout the morning. And you can also download our Fox Local app. You can watch us there, and even the Fox 26 weather app, where you can use the interactive radar feature that truly is one of the best features that we have. You can zoom in exactly where you are and get alerted if there is any lightning in your neighborhood. Let's talk about longer term though. I mean, I already had to write the date and I'm like, Jan 1, 2024. Yes, we have made it, and into the first few weeks of it. Looks like some cooler air is going to be ushering into the West Coast. And I'd love to show you this map across the country. You have family or friends in the Midwest, maybe up in Washington, down toward Florida. Well, let's split the country in half, basically right along the Mississippi, and you'll be seeing cooler on the West Coast and much milder and even warmer across the Northeast as we head into next week. So we've been talking about these areas of low pressure that are going to continue to bring a rise in our rain chances. Well, that's also going to be bringing some slightly cooler temperatures. We're talking lows in the 40s, highs in the 60s. So close to seasonal, we'll call it. Our seasonal average for this time of year is actually going to be a bit closer to that 63-degree mark. You can see that those temps, like I mentioned, on a bit of that roller coaster by Friday. Highs in the 50s, then we're back to the 70s Monday before that rain comes in, and boy, drops temps pretty quickly, going from 70 degrees on Monday down to highs in the 50s. And when we see highs in the 50s, you know that that means lows likely back to the 40s and 30s, and it looks like we will be seeing that by early next week. But really, 2 days that you need to keep an eye out for. Keep that rain jacket handy, the umbrella, whatever you need. If it's in your car, great, because you'll need it as you're running into school and or work, is going to be tomorrow morning, starting late tonight, but really for that morning commute for your Friday. And then Monday, likely going to be seeing a bit more widespread and potentially a bit of a longer stretch of that rain, because what's happening tomorrow is it looks like it gets out of here pretty quickly. But always remember to trust